HWGA 2016 presidential coverage, focusing on the issues. And the issue we're going to look at today is the Supreme Court. Now, I don't think I have to tell most of you that if there is a vacancy in the Supreme Court, one of the justices resigns or is impeached or dies, it is the President of the United States who will nominate their successor. And of course it goes to the Congress to be confirmed. So, with every presidential election, the Supreme Court is always an issue. Who would that presidential candidate nominate for the Supreme Court? What kind of justice would they want to put up? And let's see what the candidates have to say. First we have Rick Santorum.
When the Supreme Court acts in an unconstitutional way, it is not the law of the land, and the last thing we need to do is move on. We need to stand up and fight.
And now we're going to take a look at the Democrat side with Lincoln Chafee.
The Supreme Court, as we all know, has struck down parts of McCain-Kennedy. Then they passed Citizens, the Supreme Court approved Citizens United. So there are legal issues on your First Amendment rights to how much you can spend, the wealthy can spend of their own money. I certainly would not appoint any Supreme Court justices that want to bend that, keep bending that for the wealthy.
So right there you can sort of see the similarities between the two. With Santorum, they want to overturn a justice who would overturn the recent Supreme Court ruling that legalized same-sex marriages. With Lincoln Chafee and the Democrats, it's someone who would overturn Citizens United. And when I hear that, all I can think of is, oh, bitch and moan. Fucking Supreme Court makes a decision that you don't like, and suddenly we need to completely and entirely change the Supreme Court. You know, it's like, why is that the focus on what they would overturn? Are there Supreme Court cases that I'd like to see overturned? Yes, there are. Like Buck versus Bell, where they said that the government can legally sterilize individuals. You know, spade and neuter the public. I'd like to see that overturned. Or Kelo versus the city of New London, where they said internet domain, where the government can take your property, is okay even if they're only using it for commercial use. You know, someone wants to build a big casino, and they say, hey, city, we want to build a casino here. And the city will back them up. The city will take your property and give it to these casino makers, because the casino makers are going to bring in revenue to the city and jobs. You know, it's not the internet domain where it's for the use of the public, it's a hospital or a police station or, you know, a sewer treatment plant. So some jackass can make millions of dollars. I'd like to see that overturned. But that being said, I don't think that should be the focus on when you talk about who you nominate to the Supreme Court. You know, like, what kind of ideals does this person have? What kind of decisions have they already made? Which way do they lean? Right or left or in the middle? So I think, since I've already started, I'll just tell you what the kind of person that I'd like to see nominated. And I'd like to see someone who's a little more pragmatic, like Potter Stewart. Instead of, you know, focusing on a certain ideology, philosophy, like, you know, conservatism or liberalism, that, you know, they can focus on what's, you know, practical. With Potter Stewart, we give an excellent example of this in Jacoby versus Ohio. It related to pornography and whether or not it was protected by the Constitution. There had been a movie called The Lovers, a French movie where this woman has an affair. And, you know, Ohio had a law against pornography. Some theater owner in Chicago decides he's going to play that in his theater. He gets arrested and say, hey, you violated our anti-pornography laws. They take it to the Supreme Court. And rather than deciding whether or not pornography is, you know, protected by the Constitution, Potter Stewart, they watched the movie. His decision was basically, and I am paraphrasing here, I will not give you a definition of what pornography is, but I know it when I see it, and this movie is not that. And I watched that movie, and no, it's not porn at all. Doesn't show anything at all. And that's kind of why I like Potter Stewart. He didn't have to make some great ideological decision. He just said, this movie isn't porn. Why should it be illegal? Potter Stewart was also one who said, we shouldn't decide whether or not a law is legal. We don't decide whether or not a law is illegal because it's asinine. We decide it's illegal because if it's unconstitutional. And that's the kind of thinking I like. At the same time, I would like, if they're going to make changes, I like people who can write, in a way that it should be set in stone. Like Oliver Wendell Holmes, who said, ignorance of the law is no excuse to break it. And that's when I would pick for Supreme Court. I would focus on a pregnant. And that's really all I have to say on that.